It really sucks to have to make a video saying I was right. But I was right, man. I literally said in my last video that we got to see how the Packers respond to winning games, and that a game against a bad football team like the New York Giants or others could bite us straight in the ass. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And it shocked me in the least. It really didn't. You look at the schedule every year. Every year that the NFL releases the schedule, and you see what teams you got to play, and you just look at that one team that's on that. You look at that one team during the week, whichever week it is. You just look at that week scheduled game against that football team, and you're just looking to yourself, oh, it's got trap game literally written all over it. It goes that way almost every single year. You just find that one game that you just know that even though we should win, we most likely won't win, and everything that you think was going to happen ends up happening. Green Bay had absolutely no business losing to this bad football team with a backup quarterback, but they found the way. They opened the game playing awful. Looking at how they did when they were playing poorly all October, late September. It is such just incompetent, just poor execution, man. It is such a pain in the ass watching the potential of this football team on certain drives and then watching them flop on so many others. Okay, first of all, Jordan Love did not have a good game. His accuracy was a huge problem in the first half. He was missing throws. His accuracy was just awful, completely off target, and unlike what we gotten from him the last few weeks. He threw an interception. He fumbled the ball on a scramble, on a design run, whichever you want to call it. Granted, he started to find his rhythm late, so he cleaned it up and he started to find his rhythm late and led to some good drives in the second half, but not all of it resulted in points. So overall, Jordan Love, not a good football game. Okay? The Packers were also 2 of 5 in the red zone. Both those turnovers by Jordan Love happened in the Giants' territory. So they were just completely points that we were leaving off the board. We were horrible converting on third downs, converting only 5 of 14 on third down. The defense, once again, gave up 200-plus yards on the ground. Again. Special teams, once again, committing boneheaded plays, fair catch interference, and that damn fumble by Keyshawn Nixon, who was garbage the entire game. I mean, you want to talk about one of the worst players on the field last night? That was Keyshawn Nixon. He was trash in coverage, especially on that final drive, and he had that key fumble in the second half. And it's crazy because he muffed the punt, but then he was able to pick him up, and he should have just went back down. Like, once you were able, being lucky enough to recover your own fumble, you should just went right down to the ground to secure the football. Not trying to pick it up and try to make something happen. So a major L to Keyshawn Nixon, man. He was garbage that game. Complete garbage. Okay? So you look at all that and you just see how the Green Bay Packers literally tried every way possible to lose this football game and still almost could have escaped with a win. Still. Even with all that nonsense that I just mentioned that happened, all that nonsense that was going on in this football game, they still almost escaped out of there with a win. But the point stands that all the mistakes and the bad football we saw is why this team was able to go on that mini win streak, because these things weren't happening. And again, the youth for this football team is no excuse, man, when we're talking about how far into the season we are now. They deserve to lose that football game. Absolutely deserve to lose that football game. Matt LaFleur and his play calling down the stretch was pitiful. The game-winning drive by the Giants. Oh, we're gonna get to that in a second. But again, that play calling down the stretch was absolutely fucking pitiful. We score a touchdown, and instead of just calling again, the Giants, all they needed was a field goal. At the very least, if we convert on that 2-point conversion, then a field goal by the Giants, we would have to force the Giants to have to go all the way down the field to score a touchdown to win the game. And at the very least, you give up a field goal and it go into overtime. I don't know what the hell was going through this guy's mind on that 2-point conversion. Just horrible. And again, you go to that game-winning drive by the Giants. You literally could not find a more easier game-winning drive than that. Please. Go all in NFL history. Go try to find a more easier game-winning drive than that. The Giants completed 4 uncontested passes, ran 3 times, lined up for that field goal, and knocked it through. Playing soft defense when all they needed was a field goal to win the game. Not a field goal to tie the game. They needed a field goal to win the game. And Joe Barry schemes the defense to play that fucking soft when they need a stop. Joe Barry's soft ass defense once again not being the hole when it matters. In the first half, I'll give you credit. I'll give the defense credit. In the first half, they actually did a good job defending Saquon Barkley. This guy really wasn't impactful in the game until those final 2 drives. We're lucky he fumbled the ball when he did. Otherwise, that would have pretty much sealed the deal. We wouldn't even had a chance to go down the field and get and retake the lead if he didn't fumble that ball because you stumble into the ground the way he did. Because that pretty much would have just been the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. That would have been the dagger right there. Had he not fumbled the ball and maintained possession. Okay? But again, you go back to the 2 times that we turned the ball on in the first half, I'll give the defense credit that they didn't allow any points off those turnovers. And it kept us in the football game. Okay, so if not for the defense at least holding up the way they did after those 2 turnovers in the first half, the Giants probably would have scored at least about 35 points. So it could have been even uglier than what it was. I mean, what else more can you say? Green Bay completely struggled defending Tommy DeVito. They made that man literally look like Colin Kaepernick in the NFC conference game with all that open field he had to scramble multiple times. I mean, he just, despite being a backup quarterback, he looked at super comfortable all game. I mean, this guy literally came into this game with the highest pressure turned into sacks than any quarterback, and we didn't sack him once. Not once. With Sean Gary, Preston Smith, the rest of those guys in the defensive line just could not get home. And we're just allowing him to escape too much and too often. Those many runs that led to those many runs that they were allowing by Tommy DeVito is what led to what was now 4th game of the season that we allowed over 200 yards rushing. Even when we were winning those football games, the run defense was still as pathetic as they always were. Always been. A complete joke. We're now 0 for 4 when the defense gives up 200 yards of rushing. I mean, it's a joke, man. It's just absolute fucking joke. 0 pass breakups all game and gave up explosive plays during that last drive. And of course, in our case, we couldn't get much out of our own run game with Matt LaFleur going away from it too much. And when he was trying to run the football, again, he was calling that jet sweep to Jaden Reed way too much. Called that damn play too much. It wasn't working anymore, and yet he still kept calling it, expecting something different. That final drive that we were on, it probably would have been a lot more smarter to try to run the football with A.J. Dillon, who was averaging 4.5 yards per carry, by the way. It probably would have been smarter to try to at least run the football a couple of times and try to either pick up some yards or possibly score a touchdown. Because at the very least, if they stuff A.J. Dillon, then that would at least cause the Giants to burn more of their timeouts. And we would kill the clock a lot more. Because either way, if they would have stopped us, we would have went for it on 4th down. Absolutely. So we just end up. So even though, but then again, when you look at the way the defense played on that last drive, the Giants could have had 0 timeouts and only maybe like 20 seconds. They would have drove down the field. Still. So really, how can you even get, honestly, despite the fact that Matt LaFleur's clock management is terrible and it always has been, when you look at the way the defense played in that last drive, it doesn't really matter. I mean, at this point, it's really honestly a waste of time even bringing it up. And I don't even know why I even brought it up, to be honest with you. Because it became completely irrelevant. The Giants marched down the field just like that. And like I said, I don't know why Matt LaFleur is so in love with that jet sweep to Jaden Reed. I mean, granted, when it works, it works. But the Giants were pretty much stopping it and not allowing that play to work anymore in the second half. So I don't know why Matt LaFleur still kept calling that play. And especially on a crucial 2-point conversion where we needed it to convert in order to force the Giants to have to score a touchdown to win the game instead of just needing a field goal. Just overall, just piss poor, horrible coaching by Matt LaFleur all around, man. And like I said, when we lose football games like this, you can't just blame one person. It's everybody's fault. As I've said before, it's everybody's fault. It's Matt LaFleur's fault for his poor ass coaching and play calling. It's the offense's fault for just being completely incompetent, making too many goddamn mistakes. It's the defense's fault for giving up 200 plus yards on the ground, making Tommy DeVito look way too goddamn comfortable. Especially for a backup quarterback being pressured and sacked as many times as he was coming into this football game. The special teams should completely just showing you once again how they've been one of the worst units in football for well over a decade. How many games has the special teams lost us over the years? Way too many. So when you're playing poor football on all three phases, you have no business winning football games. No business. No business when you're coming out playing that terrible on all three phases. So what's left, man? What's left? We get down. Next game at home is against Tampa Bay Bucks. Who knows how that game's gonna go because our history with the Bucks is not good under Matt LaFleur. Just saying. Oh boy. But that's about it, man. I mean, I knew not to, I knew that this game was gonna be ugly. I didn't want us to lose. I didn't want us to lose, and I didn't want to be right. But I just knew this game was gonna be ugly, and I just had that feeling in my gut. And I hate being right, man. I really hate being right. I really wanted to be wrong. I was hoping that Green Bay would just continue on playing as good as they've been playing the last few games against the Lions, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. But no. You saw the team that you saw late September and all of October. That's what you saw last night. And like I said, the potential of this football team, when these guys are executing and playing good football, you see it. But if they come out and the offense is struggling the way they are, you can pretty much just mark it down as an L. Because you can't depend on that defense or that special teams to win you a football game. It's just not going to happen. So if the offense is just not in rhythm, and they're not able to score points and sustain drives and execute, Green Bay can't beat you. We can't beat you. If the offense isn't clicking, we can't beat you. Can I remind you how it always was with Aaron Rodgers, right? I hate to bring up Aaron, man, but it just kind of reminds you how it was all the time with Aaron Rodgers. Where all we depended on was Aaron Rodgers and the offense to keep us to win us football games. It always came down to the offense to be able to win us football games. Aaron to put us in position to win. And a lot of times, when he did, he had to sit his ass on the sideline, watch the defense completely collapse, and give up a game-winning touchdown. And that's what Jordan Love just had to go through. For the 4th, 5th time now this season, where we had a late game lead and the defense just completely let the opposing team march down the field for a game-winning drive. And again, even though I'm shitting on those guys, at the end of the day, like I said, it's everybody's fault, man. It's everybody's fault. I mean, fuck Joe Barry all around, man, with his defensive schemes, man, all around. So sick of his soft ass defense, man. Sick of it. And I'm just done with this special teams unit, man. These guys just make me sick watching the way they play. So that's it, man. I know I'm just rambling on at this point, man. But it's just so disheartening to just watch the way they played last night after playing good football over the last month. It's sad, man. It's sad, but you know what? It's the NFL, man. You just gotta deal with it, bro. It doesn't mean that, I'm gonna stop cheering for the Packers. Obviously not. Love Green Bay. gonna always cheer for this football team, man. But you know, and coming on YouTube and ranting about it like this, hey, it makes me feel a little bit better, man. And it just, at the end of the day, is it's week to football is a week to week, man. So we'll just see how they play the next game, man. But yeah, bottom line is the Green Bay Packers got buried by the avalanche mistakes and lost to a New York Giants team during a chaotic primetime meltdown, man. That's what it was, bro. At the end of the day. So that's why they're 6-7 and why they did not deserve to win this football game, bro. So we'll see what happens next. Peace.